everyone, my name is Roanna. I usually make videos about nursing school, but you may be aware that I've actually just finished my nursing program and I'm about to start my new graduate year in pediatrics next month, so that'll be super exciting. But for this video, I thought I would talk to you about what it's like to work as an AIN while you're studying in nursing. If you're a nursing student in Australia or you're about to start nursing school, you may be aware of or maybe considering working as an AIN while you study. So AIN stands for Assistant in Nursing, and often you will see positions that are classified as undergraduate AINs, and those positions are kind of reserved for students, undergrad students or pre-registration students who are kind of have finished either their first year or first semester if you're doing a fast-tracked master's, and have done those clinical placements with basic nursing skills. Recently, I've had a lot of you guys reaching out and asking about working while you're studying nursing, and I do want to say that it definitely is possible to work while you study, but to be very aware of the fact that you will have a lot going on in your program, but you will have weeks that are more heavily weighted than others, so keep that in mind. I would say it's probably more feasible to do casual or part-time work if you are studying, especially if you're studying full-time, but it definitely is doable if it is something that you would like to do or if you need to do it for financial reasons. From my experience, I had about 20 contact hours a week of uni, which meant that I was doing kind of lectures, labs, and tutorials for a total of 20 hours that week. That being said, you do have to spend more hours out of that time kind of working on study, working on assignments, and preparing for exams and things like that. So make sure that you are aware of how much time needs to go towards your study. The 20 hours is definitely not the bare minimum. You do have to kind of put some more effort into doing all of those other assignments and things like that. My suggestion would be to try and find work that is a lot more flexible in picking up shifts when you can. So in the weeks that you don't have anything due, you might want to pick up a couple of extra shifts. And then in the weeks that you have a lot of assignments due or you're just really, really busy with study, maybe kind of dropping back shifts. So I think that's something that AIN work is really, really beneficial for because it can be very flexible with hours. So what does an AIN do? An AIN works under the direct supervision of ENs and RNs, and you do a lot of different patient care tasks. So for example, helping to feed patients or helping with bathing, getting people dressed. You might also assist with just other basic kind of activities of daily living and basic hygiene practices for the day. AINs will also do OBS as well, so taking vital signs like blood pressure, temperature, and you would then relay that back to your EN or RN that's looking after the patient so that they're fully aware of what's going on with them. Other tasks involved might be making beds or cleaning medical equipment, and depending on the location of where you're working, you may be kind of trained to do additional tasks that other people might not be doing because of the particular facility that you're in. So you might be in renal or pediatrics or aged care or something like that, and there may be a particular task that is more suited to that particular facility that you'll learn because you're working there a lot or something like that. AINs may also be asked to special a patient, and the term specialing, it can be used in different ways, and some facilities might not use the term specialing, but it essentially refers to one-to-one monitoring by an AIN with a patient who might be at risk of something from happening, some at-risk situation. For example, a patient absconding, so running away from the hospital, or a person who might be at risk of self-harm. So you as the AIN would be there for the whole shift, kind of keeping an eye on them one-to-one, and you're there not only to make sure that they're okay, but also to notify the RN or EN who's looking after that patient if something were to go wrong or if there was a situation that needed to be alerted. So that's kind of what a specialing job would be. Undergraduate AINs will often work in a casual pool as well. So a casual pool is where you work multiple shifts across a certain period of time, and you have to do a minimum number of shifts across that time period. So it could be a month or 2 months, and you kind of get moved around the whole hospital depending on which shifts you pick up. It could be across the local health district as well. And yeah, there's a lot more flexibility because As long as you're doing the minimum number of hours that you need to do over the month or 2 months, you can kind of still pick up as many as you want to if you've got a lot more time on your hands. But if you have a lot of assignments due or have some clinical placements coming up, you're able to cut back on the shifts in a few weeks that you have like a lot going on. So that's really handy. That being said, different AIN positions will have different requirements for the role, so if you are looking at applying for AIN positions, make sure to read the job description thoroughly, and also if you do get through to the interview stage, I would highly encourage you to ask questions in the interview about different job requirements for the position so that you can make up your mind or make your decisions based on that information and see what's right for you. So in my last year of nursing school, I actually worked as an undergraduate AIN, but something a little bit different for me is that I didn't actually work in the casual pool. I was actually employed by one pediatric facility in the hospital, so one unit, and I went into the same unit and saw the same staff every time I went into work, basically. I was also trained to do some tasks that some of my friends who are also AINs weren't trained to do. So for example, I was trained to do gastrostomy and jejunostomy feeds, and that's purely because we had a lot of kids coming into our facility that had required jejunostomy or gastrostomy feeding. So that's something that we were trained to do. All AINs in the facility were trained to do it, which was really, really handy because it meant that we were able to assist the nurses with a particular situation that a lot of the kids were requiring in that particular unit. So yeah, it's a little something that I was kind of trained to do outside of what a typical AIN job would require. I felt that my AIN experience really allowed me to kind of get to know the staff that I was working with because I wasn't like moving around the hospital as much. And I was also kind of able to form really lovely therapeutic relationships with the kids and the families that I was caring for, which was really nice. So yeah, I think even though my experience was a little bit different, I think that it was such a great experience to have. And if you're interested in learning more about the position that I had as an AIN, or if you want to ask questions, you're welcome to leave a comment down below or seek me out on Instagram. I'll leave the links down below for you, and you're welcome to send me a private message if you'd like. Okay, I've come up with a few benefits and downsides to working as an AIN while you're studying nursing. But first of all, I wanted to say that don't feel like you have to work as an AIN while you're studying. It's definitely not the be all and end all. You definitely don't have to have an AIN experience to get into a new grad position, and just because a lot of other people might be applying for AIN jobs, it definitely doesn't mean that you have to as well. So do keep that in mind. Don't feel pressure to go out and seek and find an AIN job. That being said, there are quite a few benefits to working as an AIN. I would highly recommend it and highly encourage you to consider it if it is something that you're wanting to do. So, number one benefit is that you get lots of experience doing basic nursing skills. While clinical placements do allow you to learn and practice your basic nursing skills like taking vital signs and assisting with patients' daily care, that being said, when you're working as an AIN, you do all of these skills so often that they kind of become second nature. This is really beneficial because when you get into your final year and doing your final placements and even going into your new grad year, you have all of those skills down pat, and it means that you don't have to think about them when you're doing them. You don't have to try and think about how you change a bed or how you put a patient on a bedpan or something like that, because you've already done it so many times. And it really helps you to free up that kind of mindset and your thinking space so that you can really think critically about the rest of your patient care, like giving IV medications or kind of doing an ECG or something like that. So getting on top of those basic nursing skills was something I found really beneficial to working as an AIN. All right, number two is improved communication in a clinical setting. This is actually something I found really valuable, especially talking to patients' family members, which of course is a huge skill when it comes to pediatrics. So I found that working as an AIN really helped me to build confidence in my ability to communicate with the patients that I'm caring for, their family, their parents, but not only that, but also the staff that I'm working with. And just being able to work in a clinical environment where you're able to observe how staff communicate, particularly with doctors as well, and I still sometimes do find it a little bit daunting to talk to doctors. All of that experience really, really helps, and I found that by the end of my year working as an AIN, I had improved my communication skills so much. So I definitely think it's really, really beneficial. All right, number three, it looks really good on a resume. Okay, I know I said that it's definitely not a requirement to have an AIN position for your new graduate year, but that being said, having it on your resume does signal to potential employers that you've worked in this industry or this profession before, and you have real world experience that's not just in a highly structured learning environment like clinical placements or labs and things like that. I think it also shows to future employers that you're really dedicated to the nursing field as well, because you've kind of spent time working in the profession, maybe not at the level of an RN, but it shows that you're still wanting to work in this profession with all of that clinical experience as well. So yeah, I definitely think, although it's not necessary to have the AIN on the resume, subconsciously for employers, I definitely think it's a beneficial one. All right, number 4, which kind of relates to new grad things as well, is that having an AIN position really helps with your new graduate interviews. So this one can actually be really beneficial because as part of your new graduate interviews, you do have to give examples of clinical experience to back up the answers that you're giving based on the questions. So a lot of the questions can be quite obscure, and for example, in my new graduate interview, I actually had a question about social media policy, and I was really lucky that as part of my AIN experience, I had a situation that I could draw upon. So with social media policy, for example, I was caring for a group of kids who were all playing together, and some of the parents were in the same room as well, and one of the fathers had pulled out his phone to take some video footage of the kids playing together, but of course he's filming other children that weren't his own kids. So that was just an experience where I was able to show that I knew what the social media policy was, and I had like real world experience of being able to notify the father of the situation and say that he had to delete the video, and I'm also showing that I was able to be confident in that communication as well. So having those experiences other than clinical placement experiences can be really beneficial. It just means that you have a lot more experience to draw from, and you have a lot more kind of situations that you can kind of think of for the answers that you're going to give. While it is possible to get through your grad interviews without having experience from AIN work, I would highly suggest, if you can work as an AIN, make sure that you're kind of thinking about the experiences that you have and drawing on those when you go into your interviews. Alright, number 5 is that you can earn money while you're studying. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. It's really nice to have money. That being said, it's not the only job that will do that. It is just one beneficial thing to working as an AIN. Alright, I've listed a lot of benefits, but there are a couple of downsides, which there will always be for any kind of job that you're going into. But a couple of them are that you will have a lot less time to work on assignments or do study, especially if you're not good at managing your time. And also you can potentially be at risk of burnout as well. This is something I am all too familiar with. I am very bad at biting off more than I can chew, and I'm not very good at saying no to things, especially when I feel like I am helping someone by picking up a shift. So I definitely have been in this position before where I've had multiple assignments due in one week and I'm working 3 or 4 shifts that week as well, and I just don't have time to get everything done. So it can be a little bit daunting, especially if you're not managing your time well. So I would say a workaround for this sort of situation is to make sure that you're planning ahead, and if you do notice that you have a week coming up where you have a lot going on at uni, make sure that you're taking some of those shifts off if you can, and notifying your employer as early as possible. So while working as an AIN definitely does kind of eat away at some of the time that you could be working towards study, I do think some of the experiences that you pick up as an AIN are just as beneficial as the study itself. So yeah, I definitely think it's a great place to be if you're wanting some hands-on experience, you want some work, you want some money, and you're able to manage your time effectively while you're studying. I think it's definitely doable. So thanks for reaching the end of this video. If you liked it, please click the like button down below. And if you want to see more from me and my channel, please click the subscribe button. I am going to be making lots of new videos when I start my new graduate year in a couple of weeks' time, which is very soon, and I'm really excited but also really nervous at the same time. But if you want to see more about that, then click the subscribe button. If you have any questions about the video, if you've worked as an AIN, or if you have any tips or tricks, or if you have questions about working as an AIN, leave some comments down below and I'll try and answer as many as possible in there. And if you have any questions that you don't want to ask in this comment section, you're welcome to follow me on Instagram and send me a message over there. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!